pictures. Let's bring in Bob Strang, a former agent here. He's a counterterrorism expert. And just to get your thoughts, Bob, on these reports. Again, we don't know what's inside some of these suspicious packages. And I'm looking, you can hear maybe on my microphone that we get those alerts. I'm getting another alert here, and I'm going to check into it. There's one headline that says a UPS cargo flight from Yemen to Chicago was stopped in London. But again, this is unconfirmed at this time, and this is just coming in on the wires, Bob. As I said, we're just watching this developing story. What goes through your mind when you hear these different reports, and what do you make of it so far?
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that clearly is kind of a softer area when it comes to the full security and safety that we see compared to commercial airlines. Just yesterday in Newark, they started to do the full body screening so that all passengers getting on airplanes would have those photographs taken of their body so that you could see if there were any weapons, if there was any type of bombs, so forth. So while we're focused on people and getting safe airplanes on passenger planes, terrorist groups and Al-Qaeda, and this is the way they operate, they're looking in the other direction. They're looking where we don't have this type of security. They're looking where we are vulnerable and where they can get these kinds of materials and bombs and explosives on the airplane. So, you know, every time we think we're making headway in one area, we're falling back in another area, and they're pretty smart. They know where to look. They know what to do. They know what our soft targets are.
So, Bob, let me just bring everybody up to date as I'm getting some more information here. As I mentioned, that suspicious package we were looking into on a UPS cargo plane in the Philadelphia area. We had another one as well in the Newark, New Jersey area. That's a live picture we're seeing on the screen. What I was referencing in Queens, New York, was another delivery truck that was being checked, but not much information on that at this time. And I'm seeing one other additional wire here, again, about a cargo flight coming from Yemen to the United States being checked as a precaution. That's being reported by another news network. You know, what's the approach here by different security experts? Is it that suddenly we're checking all the cargo planes? I mean, as these stories kind of pop up, what way do we attack it and make sure we keep everybody safe here?
Well, Jenna, it's a three-prong approach, and obviously the first thing is our intelligence information, which we're constantly collecting and trying to head off these things, either through wiretaps or informants or just through surveillances. The second area is the actual enforcement area. When we go in and we make arrests, we seize the hard drives, we take the information, we flip the defendants, talk to them, get their information, get them to tell us who else was involved. That's a way to head in. And the third area is just our simple security, the kinds of things that we do when we're at the UPS stations, the kinds of things that we do at the airports, the perimeters that we build. And these three things have to work together. You know, security in our world is not brain surgery. It's pretty basic. It's enforcement, it's intelligence, and it's security working together. And that's all we can do because things do slip between the cracks. We have to be prepared for them when they do.
And as we mentioned, we have different law enforcement agencies on the scene at both airports. We're looking at this live shot in Newark, New Jersey, and all we know is that we have the investigators there. They're checking into these suspicious packages. We also have another report about a cargo flight from Yemen to Chicago being stopped in London, and additional reports now that there are a few different countries involved. Reportedly, the UK is involved. I did see that one wire that suggested that plane coming from Yemen stopped in London, and that's where it was checked before it headed on to Chicago. So, you know, Bob, a lot going on here. And it's tough to kind of know what to make of it because oftentimes we have these suspicious packages, these breaking news items, and you got to check out each and every one of them.
Well, Jenna, the thing is you don't normally have this many at one time.
Okay.
You know, this is what makes this situation a little bit different and a little bit more worrisome for me because I'm seeing, you know, as we're talking, I'm seeing other information coming in about other trucks, other suspicious packages outside of Philadelphia, Chicago, and Newark. So this could be a global issue. This could be a planned event. We don't know yet, but clearly everybody is focused on it right now just to try to head off any potential problem.
You know, one of the other things that was reported earlier, an earlier time, was that there was some sort of radiological device, radioactive device. And I'm going to ask, Bob, you're on live with me here. And I know our viewers are staying with us live, and I'm going to ask just live because it's the only way I can talk to the control room to check an urgent that just came into us before we go on the air with it. I want to confirm this about what was found in a flight coming to Chicago from Yemen. So if we can work on that while we're live, that would be great because I want to make sure we bring the most up-to-date information. But again, the first reports were something about the pilot thinking there was something radioactive. It was very bizarre, and John mentioned this as well as we were talking about this, John.
It was unusual. The early reports indicated that the plane was made contact with authorities on the ground while it was on final approach. That has to be coming from the pilot. Concern about one of the packages on board. And again, the early indication was that the package might have some kind of radiological threat. It would be very strange to me to imagine that a pilot somehow goes back into the cargo hold and notices a glowing package, and I'm being slightly facetious there. You wouldn't expect the pilot to understand or know anything about some kind of a radiologic component in a package on board, would you, Bob?
No, you wouldn't, but keep in mind that we do have devices that can test for radiological components. So, and in many cases, the airlines have these, and the pilots have them. There could be a U.S. Marshal aboard that plane because obviously from Yemen to Chicago, that's something that we look at carefully.
And Bob, let me just jump in because I'm just going to add this additional report to bring in some more information. We have yet to confirm this, so I want to caution everybody on this. But one report says that this UPS cargo flight from Yemen to Chicago that was stopped in London was found to contain a toner cartridge converted to a bomb. One other network is citing sources on that. We're working to confirm that, but that's the information as we know it.
Right, and you know, these bits and pieces of information as they come in, they have to be evaluated carefully. But clearly, there's something. It seems as if something is going on here. For a pilot to confirm it, that means that he's actually done some field testing and could see that, in fact, you know, there was something there. If in fact that's true. So, you know, this is a very fluid and dynamic situation that we're dealing with right now. We're talking about multiple airports. We're talking about a global investigation, possibly a global planned attack. But these are the kinds of things that the government agencies train for around the world. These are the kinds of things that we prepare for. We have to look at them quickly. It's going to definitely slow down air traffic. It's going to have an effect on travel today. There's no question about that. But this is something that we have to deal with. Let's hope that it's a false situation, that you know, this is not a large planned attack, and let's hope for the best here.
Former FBI investigator Bob Strang is our guest. Let me just bring our viewers up to date in case you're just tuning in. Pretty strange circumstances underway at some of the biggest airports in the country. Newark Liberty International Airport there on the right of your screen. Philadelphia's airport there on the left of your screen. Two large UPS cargo jets just in from overseas. The Philadelphia flight was Flight 218 originating in Paris. Whether it made an intermediate stop, we have yet to confirm. But those two planes have been quarantined in various areas of those respective airports because of suspicious items on board. The Philadelphia Fire Commissioner told us a short time ago that they met that plane when it came in along with some local police authorities, and that it is now being handled by the FBI. Some pretty suspicious circumstances here, and authorities, the Transportation Security Administration specifically said in the early going that out of an abundance of caution they were putting those two planes in quarantine. But it does seem that there is an awful lot of attention being paid to what's going on here. In addition, we understand that a UPS delivery truck in Queens, New York has been quarantined. They have been searching it for some kind of suspicious contents. Nobody is better at running down these kinds of details than Rick Leventhal. Let's get to him at the breaking news desk. Rick,
well, John,
what can you tell us?
John, we're monitoring a lot of news sources and hearing some pretty disturbing stuff. Right now, ABC Radio is reporting that investigators are seeking to stop an active terror plot involving cargo planes that have landed here in the U.S., also reporting that United Kingdom authorities are involved. And we're now hearing from Reuters as well that one of the planes that was stopped in London that was bound from Yemen to Chicago eventually, a cargo plane stopped in London, was found to contain a bomb, an ink toner cartridge that was converted into a bomb, Reuters now reporting, on board a United Parcel Service flight traveling from Yemen through London to Chicago. The bomb was discovered when the plane was stopped in London. So you have that situation that we're still working to confirm. You have the two planes stopped in Newark, in Philadelphia, and another one in Newark, cargo planes possibly involved in some sort of active terror plot, according to ABC Radio, which, again, we are also trying to confirm.
All right, Rick Leventhal.